Welcome to Queer Conversations. I'm your host G of Vergy TV. I am here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. EST, and we share LGBTQ stories. I'm pausing because it says a message here. It says, you can still record a video, it just won't be live. You may be able to go live later. But you can see me, right, David? Okay, so I'm going to ignore this. Okay. So, I'll start over. Welcome to Queer Conversations. I'm your host, Gia Vergy TV, and we share LGBTQ stories every Tuesday, 6 p.m. EST. And my guest today, and she's live on her page, hello, is Angine Moss. We have this thing here. I'd love to see if we could get rid of it, though. So it has like a little thing here. If you take a look, we'll see. So Angine is an advocate. She's a survivor. She has an organization called Hosanna for Youth. And we're going to say welcome to Angine. Thank you for joining me here.
Thank you, G.
You're welcome. So let's start off by, welcome. I see David's on the show with us. Thank you. Kavor, all the way in Jamaica. Thank you for joining. Let's talk a little bit about the work that you do as a survivor, how you got started, and share a little bit about Hosanna for Youth.
I sure will. Hosanna for Youth is a nonprofit organization that educates, create awareness, resources, and support to the community about incest, molestation, and rape. This organization came about because I am a survivor. Okay. Only thing is, I kept silent when it happened to me and my family. So once it took me through all the turmoil, and I decided that I wanted to take my life back and live, I was able to get myself together and decide how I can give back. How can I help that next person that family turned against them because this happened, or the next person that is going through the hurt inside and don't feel worthy. So that's where Hosanna for Youth thrived from.
When did you start Hosanna for Youth?
We started Hosanna for Youth back in 2000, and I'm going to say approximately like 2007, 6 years around there. But we incorporated at that time. It didn't become the nonprofit until 2014.
Okay, so more recently.
So, yes.
So what led you to break your silence?
Well, one of the things that I was dealing with was trying to figure out who I was. And I went through this whole trying to live up to the standards of what people thought that I should be, or trying to, I just didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel... It was just a whole time of nothingness. And I wanted to regain and reconstruct and rebuild who I thought I can become. So in doing that, I had to identify with some hurtful things that happened to me as a kid.
And was this around the same time you started Hosanna for Youth, or this is way before?
So I didn't start Hosanna for Youth by myself. It was me and a friend girl, and we were actually making Hosanna for Youth about at-risk youth. So when we were sitting down and we were talking about at-risk youth, I'm like, oh my God, you're talking about me. We went from teen pregnancy, we went to dropping out of high school, we went to the drugs, we went to the promiscuous behavior, we went down the line, and I'm sitting there and she's like, Angine, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, girl? And I was like, oh my God, you're talking about me. And not until I saw myself on this paper
that you realized how it connected,
that I realized how broken I was. And I'm like, I woke up every day, put on my makeup, and I was good. I thought I was thriving. I was going to work, I was doing this and doing that. I thought I was surviving. But it came clear to me that I was existing. Which is a difference.
Of course, big difference.
And so I decided, while we were penning Hosanna for Youth, that, I got to get my life back. I need to identify with who I am and who I think I want to be in this world. And no longer let what happened to me be the story.
And how was it for your family when you decided you wanted to share? Because this is something that happens within, you deal specifically with sexual abuse, molestation, incest, rape within a family setting, right? So how was that for your family?
So with me when, fortunately, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but
Okay.
you know, my parents are deceased.
Oh, okay.
So all of this happened.
Okay.
My mother passed in 2001, and my dad passed in 2006.
So they weren't here to deal with it.
No,
that way.
and then outside of them, I really didn't care about the rest.
Right,
of them.
I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean.
I didn't really.
Yes.
It didn't take away from what I wanted to do
Okay, I understand what you mean.
and talk about it.
So that worked out well.
It did.
Okay.
But not everybody's fortunate.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
In that
that's
way.
why Hosanna for Youth has stepped in to bridge that gap, because one thing that I noticed, G, is incest, molestation, and rape don't just destroy the victim. It really destroys the whole family.
The family, right?
You know, that whole...
And our family's prepared to deal with it. Like, how do we talk about it? How do we... Does everybody come to Thanksgiving and the people are right there together in future years when people know? Like, how does that work out? Yeah, so I can imagine.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's very complex.
It's very complex. And I think in order to, in this day and time, address it properly, you're going to have to address whomever is connected to that issue.
Right, right. Well, I'm glad you're doing that work.
Thank
It's
you.
great work. And I know that you had a event this past Sunday. Talk a little bit about the event. Hold on one second. David, can you just look here 1 second for us, please? So, we're gonna, there's just something right here I'm wondering, because we can't see. I can see barely, like Carlene is there and trying to say hello.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this thing here. So just ask for a pause. Should we press this cancel and then that thing's gonna go away? Because we can't see here.
I wouldn't touch it.
Don't
It's
touch
just
it?
red light.
Okay.
You don't even hit cancel, but
Ah.
I don't know. I mean,
Okay, so you can just tell us if there are questions, and so we can't really. I can.
I'm sharing.
Okay,
Probably
so
the-
I just see Karen say hello. We have a little thing blocking us here in front of us. Thanks, thanks to Facebook. But yeah, so you had an event this past Sunday.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit what the event was about and how it went and so on, and
So-
why you did it.
The event is called No More Family Secrets.
Okay.
And the reason we did the event was to bring awareness to the community about what Hosanna for Youth is.
Okay. good.
No More Family Secrets is a conference that we host every year.
Okay, good.
So we added on the luncheon component.
Okay,
and
good.
we did the test run this
Okay.
past Sunday. And we woke up Sunday morning and was in total shock that it had completely sold out.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
lovely. Wonderful. I saw the graphics sold out. Everybody who has events wants to be able to say sold out at some point. That's wonderful. That's great.
And I'm going to tell you, my nerves were all the way up to here. And
Oh,
I'm like,
my
oh my God, it's sold out. And then
Good.
they was like, Angine, that's a good sold out. That's
Yeah, it's a good
thing.
sold out.
That's
You
a
want
good
that. You do
issue."
want that.
And I was like, oh, really? And it was just amazing to see the people come out and the support. It was amazing to see. It was no hiccups.
Good for
The
you.
team, oh my
What a
goodness.
great
G.
team. That's wonderful. I do events, so I know the challenges with having events and everything. So
Yes.
you say no hiccups, no anything. I
Yeah.
mean, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and you think that people are getting that message because the main thing you're saying, one of the main things you're saying is that we should be able to share these
Yes.
things that happen, and then you're also doing things to prevent it to happen to the children. Prevention.
Exactly. And the number one prevention is being able to listen and being able to talk.
Okay.
Okay? Letting your kids talk to you
Right.
and you being able to
Just listen. Right. Because right now, we have a big story in the news where people are saying, hey, this woman has come and said 30 years later
Mhm.
that this has happened to her. She was sexually assaulted when she's in high school,
Mhm.
and now they're probably in their 50s. It's 30 years. People, there's this whole thing of challenging someone if it's true.
Mhm.
And that's something that happens whether you're in the news or in real life.
Exactly.
But I shouldn't say real life, like I said, but I mean like the everyday person.
Every day.
A child who may say at 10 years old, at 15 years old, at 20, there's this, and how do you deal with that?
Well, one of the things is, and for me and my team and at Hosanna as a whole, what we don't do is we don't do any judgment.
Okay, good.
And we try to allow your story to be your story and
Good.
your process is going to be your process.
Right.
I can't tell you how to bear that pain
Right.
or to process that pain.
Of course.
only thing we can do is be there with you through your journey of that pain.
Right.
So we make that extremely clear for everyone
Good.
that's on the team, and that the person feels that when they come in.
Okay, good.
So,
Good.
you know, I get it. You know, people always want to compare their story to someone else's story.
Yes, yeah.
No, we can't do that.
Or how long someone took to tell, or some people who haven't told, and so on. Yeah, my mom is a survivor, and she talked about it. I don't know when she first started sharing, which is actually a question I'd like to ask her. But I was about 7 or 8 years old when she started telling me what happened to her. And I believe she was telling me that because she wanted to protect me.
Exactly.
And she did prepare me, because she prepared me and said, they're going to be men and they're going to try this. And they did. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what my mom was talking about. And it was very challenging, but I just remember like my 8-year-old mind navigating, like escaping the situation that she had said would possibly happen. And from someone I know, and not from a stranger in the back alley somewhere. It's someone who has access to you, and that you're that someone in a position of trust.
And that's the sad thing, is like we have in our mind that the harm and the scariest thing that's going to happen in life is going to be something outside and some stranger person. Right. That's why the impact of incest, molestation, and rape by a family member or a trusted family friend is so hard to process.
Right.
Because we're taught to trust and love these people. And
what's odd to me is that people still are like absolutely shocked when we hear a person is a position of trust. There's like disbelief, like, what do you mean? He's a priest, or he's a father, or he's a stepfather, and it's like, why are we still perpetuating this concept that that people are above that? Yeah. You know, when unfortunately people in positions of power are sometimes likely to use that power in that way, right?
So one of the things that, you know, people like to compare, or when we mention Hosanna for Youth, they say, oh yeah, hashtag me too. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But here it is. We wouldn't have a hashtag me too if we deal with it in our homes. Right. I mean, we miss the concept that they, you know, it happened, or their behaviors were present earlier on before they became a CEO, before they became such and such.
There's a lot of people. I was going to ask you that. How does the Me Too movement impact the work that you're doing?
I think that the part that everybody is missing is their behavior don't start with their title.
Okay. So you're saying, like, what we're seeing the Me Too movement of people who are celebrities, people who are in high positions of power, and we're not seeing as much the everyday person where it's starting.
I believe, and this is totally my belief, that if you go and you take the title away and you go back sometime, whatever behaviors he probably or she probably exemplified those behaviors. We just didn't pay them any attention until they became this position. Right. And we need to deal with these behaviors right on when they start
at the very
happening.
beginning. Right.
They do grow up.
Right, exactly.
I mean, even, look at it as close as a family member. You know, like for me, my perpetrator was my cousin. I'm sure he has a great job.
Right, okay.
It didn't just stop and end here. It's just, I'm the one that's saying something now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think that there is that as well. Like someone who's doing it with one person is usually with multiple people, right?
Yeah, we need to address the behavior and not look at it as a title or a position or something like it's a certain class of people. I get that a lot. Oh, that would never happen in my neighborhood. What the world? That would never happen in my family. I mean, sometimes my inbox is, I'm literally cringing at the response or of what people are saying to me.
Wow.
I'm like, I can't believe this lady said that. I mean, be grateful that it didn't happen in your family, but you will run into somebody that it did happen to.
Right. And sometimes that person who's saying it didn't happen or doesn't know it could be happening right under their roof.
Under their roof.
Right there.
And a lot of parents are angry at that.
Yes.
A lot of parents, they feel broken because they didn't realize that their child was being sexually molested by, say, the aunt or the uncle or the brother or the sister right there. Yeah. And that takes a toll of them emotionally and
Well, yeah, I can imagine the level of guilt and this feeling like, how
Yep.
could I not know? But it's hard for that child to share, right?
Yes.
Very hard.
Yeah. Well, the first thing they do, a perpetrator is going to do what? He's going to groom the parents.
Okay.
He
Okay.
grooms the adult.
Right, to trust them
To
with the child.
trust them with the
And
child.
then also tell the child, like, don't tell your parents.
Exactly.
And the child is vulnerable and trusting that person and confused and feels shame, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, I shouldn't tell my parents.
Mhm.
Right.
Because you're everything to me.
Hmm.
You care for me more than my, and
Wow.
it's however, each one of them grooms differently. Some with prized possessions, give you little tokens of appreciation, things that they make you believe your parents wouldn't give you,
Mhm.
the attention that you don't get from someone else, all kind of things. It's
very
I haven't ran into anything that blew me
right.
away.
Every time you're like, okay, it makes sense. It's just,
Yes.
it's very strategic.
Yes,
Usually, the
yes,
person has thought it out.
but we don't pay attention
Right.
because they groomed us first.
So is it nearly like we shouldn't really trust anyone around our children in some ways?
Well,
I mean, that sounds very strong, but like,
No,
how
that's-
do you trust people around your children? Let me put it that way. How to?
Well, each individual is different. Each situation is different, and I can't really,
Right.
speak on that only
Right.
for me.
For you, I understand that.
And with looking at it for me, I came to the place that I have to be alert and aware,
Right.
and that means pay attention to behaviors, get to
Right.
know the family,
Mhm.
get to know the background.
Right.
Don't be so quick to put your children up in someone's face because you're with them.
Right, right. Yeah, and so for me, what I did, 'cause my kids are pretty grown, but when they were little, I talked to them about their own privacy and that people shouldn't touch them and they shouldn't touch people. And if
Exactly.
anything does happen, that they should talk about it. So, and I felt the people, that I have around, there were people that I trust, and I do.
Mhm.
But then sometimes people obviously feel that, and then
Mhm.
those people violate the trust,
Exactly.
So, but I think it's like something that we have to kind of remain guarded and keep it an open, like, space and dialogue for your kid to
Yes.
say, hey, if something is happening, that they can do it.
Now,
You know.
one of the things that I noticed, G, is as parents and of little ones, we most have not established the communication about sexuality, about body parts, about comfort zones.
Right.
They don't establish that
Okay.
until they try to do it when they get into teenager, but they
Right.
need to start younger
Right.
and help them learn what a good comfortable touch, what
Right.
an
Good touch,
uncomfortable
bad
touch,
touch, yes.
how to tell me that Uncle so-and-so made you feel uncomfortable.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are some things that Hosanna tries to, I'm not going to say try, it's one of the things that we guide parents through is
Okay.
learning that type of communication, the worst thing is when the child say, hey, I don't like the way he touched me and it made me feel uncomfortable. Do the parent, get belligerent or
You have a question?
Oh.
Okay, but go ahead, and when you wrap this, then
Yeah.
we'll do that. Yeah.
So that's making it just clearer with the kids so they'll know how to deal with the dialogue.
Okay, good. That's great. So we have a question here, and I saw Jasmine jumped on. Thanks for joining us, Jasmine. I think Rich is there as well. Hey, Rich.
Rich actually asked a question. Why do you think some parents will often not believe their own child when they report being sexually assaulted?
Again, every situation is different.
Right.
But what I can say is because they haven't established that type of communication with each other, that trust or whatever, some parents lead, like my family, my mother, she led with that whole fear factor, do what I say,
Okay.
do what I say. So, she felt she had all the answers. She felt that the world was hers and we were just existing. So it depends.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that any parent should second guess if their child comes to them and say somebody
Yeah,
touched
I
me.
feel like that's 100%. Like, I'm gonna believe that
Yes.
child. Yeah.
To some extent, you have to get involved and see what it is.
What's happening?
Because a lot could go into play on
Mhm.
that one. So it depends
Yeah.
on each one.
So each one is just very
Mhm.
its own specific situation.
But first off, believe your kid.
I think so. I believe in my kid. I believe kids. When
Yeah.
kids say this happened,
Yeah.
I mean,
Investigate.
chances of a child making that up, I feel also is more slim. They're not as
Yeah.
exposed to sexual things, and if they're saying this is happening to them, you know, it's probably happening
It's
to
probably
them.
happening.
Yeah, it's probably happening. So I'm just going to acknowledge that we're here on Queer Conversations, and thank you everyone for joining us. And over here, Angine has her live. This is on your personal page? Or
This is Hosanna for
Hosanna
Youth.
for Youth. So please like the Hosanna for Youth, and Hosanna for Youth. Please like Verity TV. This is my show. I'm here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. EST. And thanks for to being here. If you have questions, more questions, you can ask questions. So in addition to the work, this is great work that you do. You are also a part of the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
And how do you identify?
So that journey that I was telling you I was going through, okay, so once I decided to deal with the things of my past and address these issues, and I'm pinning down Hosanna with my friend girl, I decided I didn't want to live in a secret anymore, period.
Okay.
No way, no how.
More. Yes.
When I say a secret, I wouldn't identify myself as a lesbian. I wouldn't identify myself as anything.
Okay.
And it was like, that was the one thing that the community and people, when they saw me as a business owner, or they saw me over here, they were like, oh, they must be don't know she a lesbian. I was like, oh God, why did I say something else? Why is that such that was like the little token. So when I began to take ownership and take the S and put it across my chest and be like, whatever.
Good for you.
Nobody has anything to say. So I just feel like I feel so free.
Good.
You know?
I know the feeling. Yes.
I feel so free
Good,
that it's nothing. There's nothing you can say or whatever that is going to sway me. I mean, we talked about me being molested. We talked about all the things I went through from the molestation through high school, through, becoming a teenager. And here I am, my adult life, I am a lesbian, and I'm happy.
Good, yes.
Yeah.
And did you have like a coming out story, whether it's to your family or your community, or you said your parents had died a while back? I don't know if you were.
So I all through school, I had these, desires.
Okay.
And that I associated with my backstory of being molested and
So
just trying to find my identity and all this stuff like that. That's what I associate.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody does. But going through that phase and in school, I was like, oh my God, I like all my friends. This is crazy.
You're like, you're all so beautiful.
Yeah, everybody's nice. And, everybody had boyfriends and stuff, so I got a boyfriend.
Okay.
And we were good. And as time went on, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to venture into this space, And so I did get a girlfriend and everything like that.
You.
And when this was in my teens, and, it was like this huge secret. So I decided, I'm going to leave this alone.
Okay.
And when I went away to college, I met someone there, and, that's who I spent most of my time with.
And that someone's a woman?
Yes.
Okay.
And so while I was there, and I was like, okay, I'm far away from Florida. Nobody has to know.
Nobody, right.
And then I decided to come back home. And when I came back home, it was like the secret. Keep the secret.
Okay, yeah.
That was back there, and you know.
So life, yeah.
Yeah, I was living this crazy life, and I decided at some point that in order to get rid of this demon, I'm just going to give my life to the church.
Oh my gosh, Jesus!
Yeah,
Okay.
and I got to break the curse, and so I got into church really heavy.
Okay.
And in that time space, I got married. I had
And that's
another kid
to a
a man,
man.
and everything like that. And then my dad died in 2006. So
Okay.
when he died, you got a question there?
I'm not sure to see. Okay, Yannick has joined. Thanks for joining. Thanks everyone for joining. Please share this conversation.
And after he passed away in 2006, I, was on that journey to live a free life and to really be happy with who I am and not allow people to use anything about me to puppet me to be who they want me to be. So with that, I decided that I was going to live my life 100% as a lesbian. I've been in a 12-year relationship.
Wonderful, congratulations.
And I mean, this is the most beautiful time of my life.
Wonderful.
That I can totally own.
And how has it been for people around you, your community, your children, your grandchildren?
Everybody's okay. I think that when I stopped putting on airs that I was okay and it
Right.
was really okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. Then it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, and people feel that.
Yeah.
Like you exude that pride
Yeah.
and authenticity, and
Yes.
people are like, we love you, right? If
Yes.
they love you, they love you.
And it took me through a process, G. That's why I don't have any hair now.
Okay.
It took me through, seriously.
Did you ever have like long dreads or anything?
No, I had
like a perm,
I
straight
used to
hair.
have a perm and a wrap, and then I cut it off short, and I was wearing the spike hair
Okay,
and
cool.
all that stuff. And then we went to New Mexico. We went to Mexico, and I
You
got
mixed up Jamaica with
no.
Mexico.
I'm trying to think because we go on a lot of trips.
Oh, good for you. That's good.
I put extensions in my hair to hang
Okay, yeah.
all the way down.
Okay, nice.
And so I had these braids in my hair, and I had started this journey of freedom.
Mhm.
And when we got back, I went to take the dreads out, and the
Braids
braids out,
out.
and it locked.
Oh, okay.
So
what do you
I
mean?
was sitting there trying to pick the hair loose to keep my hair, and I
Okay.
said, you know what? I don't want to go through this. I'm just going to cut it off. and
I
see
love,
what
I
happens."
love that. Oh, it's
Thank
beautiful. I
you.
think that's beautiful.
Thank you. So
You're welcome.
when I went to the barber and I said, take it off, he
Mhm.
went from the back up because
Okay.
he knew I would have changed my mind, and
Oh,
when he
you
did,
saw it.
I got nauseous, and I went to throwing
Oh, you
up.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
you're
almost
frightened.
like a cleansing.
You had never seen yourself with no hair.
I
right?
never saw myself as beautiful.
Ah,
So-
and you're beautiful.
Yeah, so when the hair came off,
You didn't-
and my grandson is sitting across from me, and he said, Chima,
Chima.
you look just like me. I said, oh my God, what does that look like? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then, the barber took the mirror and he gave it to me. And I was like, you know what? When would you allow people to see the beauty within you and
Mhm.
not what they considered beautiful?
Right,
So,
right.
When
I
I
love
got to that, I was like, you know what? I'm hot.
Oh, you are. I love it. You've got to do it. I love that. You
So-
know, that is so liberating.
Yeah.
You know, I think our culture so much celebrates long hair. We feel we should have long hair.
Mm-hmm.
And long hairs also can be very beautiful. I had
Yes.
long dreads, but I had dreads twice. And each time I cut it off, it was like, and I loved having them, but when you cut it off, you're like, it's liberating.
Yes.
And you feel it's like, this sense of freedom, right?
Yes,
And we
yes.
can do whatever with our hair.
Yes.
Right? And we're
Mhm.
beautiful.
And we're beautiful. And unfortunately, it's a lot of people that might be out there looking at this that still have hang-ups of
Right.
who they are because of what has happened to them.
Of course.
And when I share with people and I tell them, if I told you who I was to what you see in front of you, you would know that you can do anything, be anything, and all through it, you're beautiful. Just own it.
Right.
And sometimes I wake up, I don't even know who the hell I am.
Ah.
I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah,
you're
I love
great.
that.
So, it took it was a journey. I'm not saying it's an instantaneous process.
This is a process. It's
you
a
know?
process.
So I'm, in a happy place all on all ends.
That's lovely. I absolutely love that. And I love that you've taken something that is challenging,
Mhm.
something that is difficult to share, and made it something that's helping so many people.
Yeah.
Helping so many people. I love that. We may have another question here. We're having some technical difficulties. Can you tell us? I see Rich says something here, and someone else who's joined us whose name is Ange something.
Angela
Thank-
Schwins.
Okay, thank you, Angela.
Richard says you both radiate acceptance and pride to be who you are.
Oh, lovely.
Beautiful.
Lovely. Yeah, and I love, Angine shared a story that a lot of people, I relate to it. A lot of people, some people can come out at 16 and 18 and that's beautiful and wonderful, and some of us take time and that's beautiful and wonderful,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Too, as well. So, I know I believe we put the links there for people to please follow Hosanna for Youth. You can look at her web page as well, website, and then you're going to be having your event. It's an annual event.
Yes. Yeah.
Each, September? Where are we?
It will be September of every year.
Of every year, good.
Yeah, and it's No More Family Secrets.
No more family secrets.
Now, our next event is already being planned,
Good
but
for you.
we have one coming up in March,
Okay, good.
Survivor Stroll, and that's
Okay,
where,
good.
at Delaveau Park, we will be doing a leisure walk around the lake, adorned with music and artwork and speakers. And
Good. So you're going to post that if they like your page, they'll
Yes.
see details about that. So that's lovely. I see Philip has a question. What's that question? Let me.
What a radiant and beautiful woman.
Okay, I just saw the what. So yes, she is. Thank you, and thanks for joining. We just have this thing blocking, so I can't see. And let me big up David Muir.
Maybe now can't hit can.
Okay, well, we're wrapping up the show in like 2 minutes.
Exactly.
So, so let me big up David Muir. We're in his studio and he's helping with doing this, producing the show here for us. So I always wrap up with what I call queer conversation closing questions. So there's a few questions and then you just answer, with pretty quickly. So what inspires you?
People.
People inspire you. Great. What makes you laugh?
Oh my goodness. Everything.
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 Everything. Okay, I love that. And what's sexy to you?
I'll say a stimulation of my mind.
Mind. Okay.
Stimulation of my mind, you got me. I'm like, you got me captivated with your conversation. I'm there.
Okay, I love that. And what's so great about being a lesbian?
I'll say finally living your truth.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I
living
love
your
that.
truth.
I love that. So, Angine Moss of Hosanna for
Yes.
Youth, thank you so much for joining me here
Thank
at
you.
Queer
You're welcome.
Conversations. Keep doing that amazing work you're doing in the
Thank
community. And thanks for joining us, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Thank you.
Yes. Hold on, this is here.